All right, we are live once again. This is Mary Truth Talks. I am your host, Marianne, and this is a Mary Truth Talks show. I am pumped today. I did a lot of reading today. Well, I do a lot of reading every day, but today was like hardcore, nonstop. Woke up, and that's all I did was read, even when I was in the bathroom. Yes. So, very big stories we have for today, as always, but I think the longer we do this, the bigger and longer the stories become. So, before I begin, follow me on TikTok and Instagram, Mary, Mary _truths with an S. That's Mary _truths with an S. All right. And if you want to support the actual platform, what we do here, because we obviously fund this ourselves, but if you want to support us, join our Patreon account. It's www.patreon.com/MBElevate, which is our wellness platform. You're not going to get any of the content that's MTT related, but you are going to be supporting the MB wellness platform while simultaneously supporting this one as well. So this is really big. What's going on? I'm kind of like a lot of stuff that I have to talk about, but let's get into the stories and then I'll start my spiel. All right, so we got Epstein breakdown part 2 or maybe part 3. I'm not really sure at this point. DNI Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard sent documents to the DOJ for criminal referral that alleges Obama directly fabricated the Russia hoax. Well, I'm not surprised, but let's continue. Biden's doctor and top aides plead the fifth. Not surprised there either. This one I am surprised. Bipartisan bill to reform immigration called the Dignity Act. I have a wild story about this. Insane. And then CBS is canceling the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I didn't really,
About fucking time.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that. But I had to cover it because it connects with the live streaming stuff. So I had to cover that. All right. So before I begin the Epstein stuff, because that is going to be the bulk of the show today, guys, I have to pretty much say what I think first because of how long this is going to be, like the story.
Yeah, that's what she said.
This guy. This fucking guy. So, yeah. So this is what I think. Again, just speculation as always. This is just me telling you what I think. This is not like 100% truth. Like people like to, debunk the show by saying, oh, you think that you only say the truth and you speak truth. And that's like, well, yeah, I am an honest person. I do speak truth. That is a fact. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is not like 100% truth, as in it's like, the sky is blue type thing. It's just, this is what I believe could be the truth. And at the end of the day, there's plenty of alternatives that could be. And all we're doing is trying to find the truth. Anybody who subscribes to Mary Truth Talks is a truth seeker. So when you watch me, you're not watching the truth. You're watching somebody who is seeking the truth, okay? Just to clarify that, because I had some people say something along those lines a couple weeks ago. So, all right, so this is what I think is happening. So the Epstein thing breaks out, right? And the Democrats were not really on board with releasing the files until the memo thing came out. And then that's when they took this as a initiative to push for the files. Before that, they didn't care. It didn't bother them whatsoever. They didn't make it a political thing. The memo came out. The conservative, the very hardcore conservative base, I'm not a part of that base, but the very hardcore conservative base was like, oh, he's just one of them, or why is he doing this? You see, he's a hack, this is whatever, all this like black pill stuff. And which obviously I didn't buy that. A lot of people did. A lot of people are so emotional about this. they have a good reason to be, but when you are overly emotional, your judgment goes out the window, your critical thinking goes out the window, reasoning, all that jazz goes out the window. And I don't like to be on that camp because then you tend to think dumb, and you tend to fall into false narratives when you could easily avoid that if you were to just calm your emotions and just, take a step back. So the memo came out. The Democrats are pushing for this. All right. And then like 2 days ago or yesterday, Donald Trump comes out with a truth tweet or whatever from his platform, pretty much saying, if you can find it really quick, find the truth where he says that he wants Pam Bondi to release all credible files. Because he did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Because I think this is a trap. And I think Democrats are falling into the trap. Because he purposely was saying, he kept talking about it. Like, people are like, oh, he's in it. That's why okay, so if he's in the files and it's incriminating, right? Then why would he continue to talk about it? If he is in the files and he has incriminating evidence on himself, then it doesn't make sense for him to constantly be talking about this and pretty much making it a thing for the media to continue talking about and making it a trending topic over and over again. And then not too long ago, he called his base stupid or dumb or whatever. Like, he insulted his base. And of course, it's like, far, like, extreme right conservatives fell into that trap, right? But at the same time, the Democrats also fell into it because they were like, oh, his base is separating, now it's our time to conquer and whatever. But I think this is a trap because they also pushed this to the floor in Congress. And some Republicans were like, no, we don't want this to be released. But some Republicans were like, yeah, we should release this. And then that happened before he made this tweet or social truth or whatever you call it. Did you find it already?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I'm ready. What does it say?
Before the president got on this plane, Air Force One, by the way, headed to Pittsburgh to talk about AI, he had a chance to talk to reporters in a gaggle about a wide-ranging host of issues. This is what he had to say.
We're going to be touting about actually going to be numbers like nobody's ever heard before. It's mostly to do with AI. We have tremendous investments being made, literally trillions of dollars.
No, that's not it. That's when he says that, I don't know why the Epstein thing is being talked about. It's so boring, which I also think was done on purpose. I'm talking about the truth post that he dropped like a day ago or 2 days ago.
Oh, it was a
saying
post.
It was a post saying directly to Pam Bondi, release all credible files on Epstein.
Yeah, but he said it here, like in this. He literally said it
here in this video.
Verbally, he said it.
Okay, sure. We can continue that.
Artificial intelligence. I don't know if the word artificial is a good word.
Hold on, because this one's like super long. There was a shorter one.
Yeah.
This is the one.
President Trump doesn't understand why so many of his supporters are so focused on the Epstein files. Today, the president defended his attorney general, Pam Bondi, who's facing criticism for saying there's no evidence that Epstein kept a client list or blackmailed powerful figures after suggesting many times that there was evidence and it was on her desk. Officials say Epstein, who was a convicted sex offender, died by suicide in 2019 while awaiting trial in New York. Many in Trump's MAGA base don't believe that. They believe that key details about Epstein's crimes are also being withheld to protect influential people. House Speaker Mike Johnson now advocating for what he calls transparency after House Republicans blocked a Democratic effort to release the Epstein files. On a podcast, Johnson expressed support for releasing the related files and is open to Congress subpoenaing the...
No, but this is not the one. Man, what the heck? Where is it?
He literally said. If you find the post, it would be a lot. This would.
I mean, he said he literally says it because I don't know where is this post.
He says a lot of stuff. Just find the post where he says it should be on X or something.
Trying to quell the unrelenting backlash over his
videos over and over again. Just find the truth post. Google or ChatGPT it. ChatGPT will show you where to go.
Well, I guess I'll look for it. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
So okay, so while he's looking for that, he drops his Truth Social post. Pambani then replies and says, yeah, we're gonna get it done, blah blah blah. And this was after the Dems now started pressing on it. I think that's what he wanted. I think he wanted the Dems to actually say, oh, we want the Epstein files too. And because before they weren't doing it, and then all of a sudden they're doing it. So then he's like, okay, now that you want it, I am going to give it to you. And I have a feeling it's going to backfire on them, not on him. I have a feeling this is a play. I could be wrong. At the end of the day, I'm just a chick on the internet who speaks her mind out of what she sees. But this guy has dealt with the mob for a long time. And I'm not talking about mob as in like the mobsters he used to deal with when he was in New York coming up. I'm talking about the literal enormous bureaucratic federal government mob. The biggest mob in the world is the federal government of the United States. That is the biggest mob. So, considering he's dealt with the mob for so long already, he knows how they operate. He knows how they attack. He knows how they hide things. He knows already how to handle the mob. A lot of people call it the deep state. Some people call it the blob. I call it the mob because their tactics is very mobster-like, just on a greater scale because they have massive resources. And I mean, everything the mob used to do, they do now, except they're doing it in the name of justice or, just to, help the taxpayers and whatever the hell. Did you find it?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to start this and you can look for it. It's not going to be a video. It's a literal Truth Social post.
I'm not going to find it in Truth Social because I have to log in and make an account.
But if you ask ChatGPT,
I already asked ChatGPT.
What did it say?
It didn't give me anything relevant.
Damn, Daniel. Well, it's on X. If you go on my X account, you put Donald Trump or whatever, it should pop.
I don't have access to your X account on my computer.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. You guys know what it is. I think this is a play, and I think the Democrats and the media are falling into it. And I'm looking forward to the conclusions of this. But the story must go on. So Epstein Breakdown Part 2 or 3, I'm not really sure. I put 2. Let's start with, last time I kind of gave you a soft breakdown of the whole Epstein saga. So now I'm going in depth here. So this all started with accusations in Palm Beach in 2005 because of a 14-year-old girl tells the Palm Beach police that Jeffrey Epstein paid her for sex. Police uncovered multiple underage victims. The local state attorney, Barry Krishner, attempts to downplay the charges. Barry Krishner is Jewish. Why is that relevant? I don't know. I just find it weird that he's Jewish and he happens to downplay charges on somebody who also happens to be Jewish. All right. So while Epstein was in their custody, Epstein was given special treatment, and he had multiple lawyers, paralegals come in and out to visit him, and even had sex with some of his visitors. So this was going on in Palm Beach, in some type of jail in Palm Beach County. In 2006, the FBI gets involved. The FBI launches Operation Leap Year and finds evidence to support 33 federal charges, including sex with minors, trafficking of underage girls, possible international transport of victims, and this happened because the chief of West Palm Beach was pissed about how Barry Kushner handled the case, so he sent it over to the FBI, the way they can handle it. However, they didn't do much. They didn't do anything either. From 2007 to 2008, they created the Non-Prosecution Agreement, which is the NPA. I spoke about that last time, which is a sweetheart deal that everybody talks about. So Alexander Acosta, U.S. attorney from Southern Florida, makes a secret deal with Epstein's lawyers. One of his known lawyers, everybody knows, Alan Dershowitz, another Jew. Epstein pleads guilty to state charges soliciting a minor and gets 13 months of county jail only. Work release 6 days a week, which is where it's been reported that he did have sex during his work releases. And the federal charges were dropped. The deal protects all co-conspirators, as I said last time, which completely violates the Civil Rights Act of victims. Acosta later claimed that he was told that Epstein belonged to intelligence and it was above his pay grade. So the FBI had a solid case to put Epstein behind bars for life, possibly a death sentence. And somehow Epstein's dream team lawyers like Alan Dershowitz cut a deal with the U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta to drop all federal charges, which to me seems as if someone or someone's told Alexander Acosta drop the charges and make the deal. There's no evidence that perhaps it was Robert Mueller, who was the FBI director at the time. But, I mean, who are we kidding? He knew what was going on. He was the FBI director. So it would make sense for me to assume that he has some play in the deal. And even probably the heads of the DOJ at the time also probably has something to do with it. When Obama came in, that was 2009 to 2016, despite pressure from victims and journalists, Obama's DOJ under AG Eric Holder and later Loretta Lynch did nothing to reopen the case, even though the NPA that protected the predators was a violation of the Victims Act. They still didn't do anything. From 2009 to 2016, when Obama was in office, mainstream media like CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, CBS barely covered the case. Even though it was silent, it was fresh, that deal, the sweetheart deal was fresh, they didn't talk about it. And then all of a sudden, this is something to talk about. Now the media is, all of a sudden the media is interested, but when it was actually going on, there was complete silence from the media. The story was not followed up despite the shocking plea deal and ongoing allegations from victims. Flight logs, photos, and known ties to elites like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and others were available publicly, but the media said nothing. The only people that were saying something were conservative blogs and alternative media like Reddit threads, InfoWars, where they were the only ones that were talking about it. Victims like Virginia Giuffre were giving interviews and trying to get attention, but no major network amplified their voices. Something to note, Clinton flew on Epstein's jet over 20 times. And I'm talking about Hillary Clinton when she was Obama's secretary from 2009 to 2013. There is one known flight log showing Trump flew on Epstein's private jet from Palm Beach to New York with his wife Ivana and daughter Ivanka on board, which we covered this a couple months back when files were released. A lot of redactions, but files were released. Compare this to Bill Clinton, who flew on Epstein's jet at least 26 times, many without Secret Service, and nobody's denying this. Trump was the only high-profile figure who cooperated with the 2005 Palm Beach police investigation into Epstein. Police Chief Ryder, who was the one who sent the files to the FBI because he was pissed about how Barry Kushner, whatever his name is, handled the case, he confirmed that Trump was helpful providing information. According to reports from Epstein's victims, like Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, Trump never visited Epstein's island, and none of the victims ever accused him of misconduct. According to sworn court statements and interviews, Trump banned Epstein, I'm going to make sure I say that twice to anybody who likes to talk shit, banned Epstein after he made inappropriate advances toward an underage daughter of a Mar-a-Lago member. This occurred around 1999 or 2005. We don't really know, around that time. But it was years before Palm Beach began investigating Epstein, because they started investigating Epstein in 2005, and Trump kicked him out either in 2000 or in 1999. That was 5 years prior. Now, in 2018 court filing, Bradley Edward, the attorney representing several of Epstein's victims, said, "The only person who helped us when we reached out for information was Donald Trump." This story has been corroborated by multiple outlets, but rarely highlighted by legacy media. So, yes, Trump knew Epstein. So did Clinton, Prince Andrews, Gates. But he was the only one who banned him and actually worked with the police. And of course, later on, put him behind bars when he was president. After Epstein was convicted, Clinton continued to have a relationship with him. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner in crime, attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010. So they didn't give a damn that he was a pedophile. Epstein's name appeared in documents and contact lists associated with the Clinton Foundation has ties with Epstein, by the way. His name popped up in documents, contact lists associated with individuals connected to the Clinton Foundation, including former donors and global contacts. Epstein even claimed to have helped Clinton with fundraising efforts in certain countries, even though the Clinton team denied it. So let this sink in. After Epstein was convicted of being a pedophile, Bill Clinton still flew on his jet, kept ties with Ghislaine Maxwell, and the media didn't say shit. Now, let's watch really quick this woman who was a reporter who had all the information on Jeffrey Epstein, and I believe it was CBS that she was on, or ABC, no, it was ABC, and they did not allow her to air it. Check it out. Absolutely incredible.
So this week, renewed interest in whether serial pedophile Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in prison or whether he was offed by somebody who wanted him dead.
This was 5 years ago, by the way, this
fall
video.
into that category, given the number of high-profile people who partied with and may have partaken in his obsession with underage girls who say that they were sex slaves in his bizarre world. Then this video surfaces from Project Veritas in which ABC anchor Amy Robach says that ABC, quote, quashed her exclusive with Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre, who said that she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17. Fox News is not able to independently verify this following video.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
All right.
ABC and Robach released statements today.
All right. Yeah. So that was a reporter who I believe was working with ABC News, and ABC News pretended like they did not know who Jeffrey Epstein was. And they did not allow her to air her interview. So this is a great example of big media lying to the public and covering up people that perhaps did things everybody knows shouldn't be doing. I mean, there is right and wrong. And if you are messing around with children. That is not just wrong, it's evil. And if you're a media platform and you're choosing to cover it up, you are as evil as those people who committed those actions. So, speaking of evil, let's continue down this disgusting rabbit hole. All right, so let's talk about Barack Hussein Obama. I like saying his whole name because it shows that he's not fully black, because Barack Hussein Obama, that's definitely like a Mideastern name, but whatever. We'll get to that eventually. Does anyone know who Larry Sinclair is? Anybody? Anybody who's listening, tell me right now if you know who Larry Sinclair is in the comments below. Because, man, this guy, God bless this man. In 2008, Larry Sinclair held a press conference, which we'll be watching soon, at the National Press Club. He alleged that in 1999, he and Barack Obama smoked crack cocaine, engaged in sexual activity in a limousine in Chicago. He said he was willing to take a lie detector test, claimed he had phone records, a limo driver, and hotel info, offered to testify under oath, and faced perjury charges if he lied. Let's take a look at this, shall we?
On November 5th, 1999, I hired the services of Five Star Limousine. Excuse me. I had hired them both for November 5th and November 6th of 1999. On November 6, 1999, I asked the limo driver, whose name I now reveal for the first time, Jagir Paramit Mutani, if he knew anyone who would like to socialize and show me Chicago. One note, there's a typo on the statement that you will get at the end of the statement. We will put an updated and corrected version on a website that you will also be given access to, as far as the name is concerned. Mr. Mutani understood that I was looking for someone who knew Chicago and would enjoy socializing. Mr. Mutani said he knew someone who was a friend of his. On November 6, 1999, after picking me up at the hotel in Gurney, and this is significant, Mr. Mutani used his cell phone to make a call. That call was made to then Illinois State Senator Barack Obama to set up an introduction between myself and Senator Obama. Upon arriving at the bar and exiting the limo, Senator Obama was standing next to Mr. Mutani, and I was introduced to Senator Obama by name. Later that evening in a bar which I believe was called Alibis, and I state believe because I have failed so far to get Citigroup to provide the credit card receipts that has the actual name. I mentioned I could use a line or two to wake up. Senator Obama asked me if I was referring to coke, and I stated I was. After stating I was, Obama stated he could purchase cocaine for me and then made a telephone call. This too is significant, from a cell phone to a presently unknown individual, during which Senator Obama arranged the cocaine purchase. Senator Obama and I then departed the bar in my limousine and proceeded to an unknown location where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurney, Illinois. The following day, November 7th, 1999, Senator Obama appeared at my hotel room, unannounced, uninvited, where we again ingested cocaine, and I again performed fellatio on Senator Obama. Significantly, both the driver's telephone call to Senator Obama and his call to the drug dealer should appear on the driver's and Senator Obama's cell phone billing statements. In the fall of 2007, September 2007, I contacted the presidential campaign of Barack Obama to request solely that Senator Obama publicly correct his stated drug use record to reflect his use of crack cocaine with me in November of 1999.
All right, that's it.
When I made the...
Because the rest is, you guys can watch the rest if you want to. If you can get that link and put it in the in the description below. That way people can continue watching it, because it is definitely worth listening to. But you know what happened to that story? Buried by mainstream media. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, all of them buried it. It was a juicy story. I mean, this is a guy who wants to run for president, who has 2 daughters, a wife, and this story is, it's tremendo tea, like we like to say in Miami. And they didn't say nothing. They kept it on the low. They don't want nobody to know about this. So instead of investigating, they attacked that man. So, and they said that, Snopes, which is obviously left, and then the legacy fact checkers, they labeled it false, even though they had no evidence to say it was false, because they didn't even allow him to do a lie detector test to know if he was actually lying about this. But then, in 2023, a letter from Obama's college days was published by his biographer, David Garrow. Also, it was confirmed in the New York Post and others. In the letter, Obama writes, "I make love to men daily in my imagination." This was, my bad. In the imagination. I want to quote this right. "I make love to men daily in the imagination," end quote. This was written to his girlfriend during his time at Occidental, that's a weird name for college, Occidental, however you say the name, college in the 1980s. Obama did, at least in his early life, explore or fantasize about homosexual encounters, in his own words. So this kind of adds a little bit of credibility to what Sinclair said like years ago. But it was never investigated. Nobody wanted to touch on it because it was too taboo, First black president who happens to be gay? Oh no, that is scandalous. Can't have that. So nobody talked about it. So the real question is, and I want you guys to ponder, why didn't the media let Larry Sinclair take the lie detector test on camera? Were they protecting a narrative, or were they protecting the truth? I say they were protecting a narrative. The narrative they wanted to push. Now let's move on to 2016 Trump Epstein rape lawsuit. What actually happened? So there's now that lawsuit that was filed in 2016 is reappearing, and people are believing it's like something new. It happened in 2016 before he ran for president. So the allegation goes, in 2016, a woman under the pseudonym Katie Johnson filed a federal lawsuit in California and later New York, alleging that she was raped by both Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein in 1994, and she was 13 years old. The abuse allegedly occurred at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. She claimed Trump was extremely violent and Epstein acted as the enabler. The legal finding says that the federal court filing, it was not a hoax or a rumor, it was a real court filing, saying that the witness known as Tiffany Doe, who claimed to have been present and helped recruit girls, or wanted to request for damages, so she wanted money. A woman dropped a lawsuit right before the 2016 election. She later canceled a scheduled press conference saying, "I've been threatened, I'm too afraid to show my face." Her identity was never publicly confirmed and no follow-up lawsuits were ever filed. The court dismissed the case voluntarily at the plaintiff's request, which means it was not ruled on the merits because of how the suit was withdrawn. It could not be refiled without significant new evidence or change in legal circumstances. No criminal charges were filed, and Donald Trump has always denied the allegations. Key points here. The lawsuit was real, filed in federal court. It was not dismissed because it was false, but because the accuser backed out due to alleged threats. The case was shut down quietly, and mainstream media again did not touch it. Like they touched it a little bit, but barely. So now let's go on to the big story that's popping up now. DNI Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard sent documents to the DOJ for criminal referral that alleges Obama directly fabricated the Russia hoax. And the reason why I'm going from one to the other is because I believe they correlate. I believe what happened in the time that Obama was president and that silence correlates with how Obama handled the transition of power when Donald Trump was inaugurated in 2016. So before we get to the video, I'm going to give you some background. The Clinton campaign and the DNC, Democratic National Committee, funded the Steele dossier through the law firm Perkins Coie and opposition research firm Fusion GPS. The dossier was compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele. Declassified notes from former CIA Director John Brennan show he briefed President Obama in 2016 on intelligence that Hillary Clinton had approved a plan to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security services. Obama was informed in real time that Hillary Clinton had approved a plan to link Trump to Russia. Instead of stopping it, because it wasn't real, Obama administration allowed the FBI and intelligence community to launch and continue Crossfire Hurricane based in part on the plan. Now, the Durham report, which was this guy that pretty much did a whole investigation on it in 2023, said the FBI had no verified intelligence to support the Russia-Trump collusion narrative when they opened Crossfire Hurricane. The Steele dossier was used to obtain FISA warrants despite being unverified and politically sourced. So they had no actual evidence to get the FISA warrants, but the FISA warrants, because there's not enough regulation on FISA warrants, they were able to get them and pretty much do a false investigation on something that they themselves made up. Intelligence leaders under Obama were aware of the Clinton plan to falsely connect Trump to Russia. Durham didn't recommend criminal charges. That's what he fucked up on. He should have recommended criminal charges. But I guess, everything happens for a reason. Timing is always important. And that wouldn't have been a good time. Now is a good time. So let's take a look at what Tulsi Gabbard is saying now about this.
Thank you so much, and thanks for focusing on this issue that these documents have really brought to the forefront, because it's one that doesn't just affect Democrats or Republicans. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue with such significant impact that it should concern every American, because it has to do with the fabric and integrity of our democratic republic. That we had a situation here where in the months leading up to the 2016 election, the intelligence community assessed, and this is what the documents detail, the intelligence community assessed essentially Russia doesn't have the tools, the capability, or the intent to try to change the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Donald Trump pulls off a historic victory against Hillary Clinton in November of 2016. Even in the days after that election, the intelligence community continued their consistent assessment that reflected the same thing in the months leading up to the election. All of a sudden, in the early days of December, there was a president's daily brief that was drafted. This is put together by the different elements of the intelligence community that reflected that same assessment. Russia did not try to hack the election, in essence. That PDB, that document, was pulled hours before it was supposed to be published for the president to see that following morning. That document was never published until we released it yesterday. One day later, President Obama calls a meeting of his National Security Council, his top officials, to be held on what they called a sensitive topic. And the results of that meeting, which we released yesterday in these over 100 documents that talk about in detail how President Obama and his team, he directed a manufactured piece of intelligence that detailed not if, but how Russia tried to influence the outcome of the United States election that President Trump won in November of 2016. This document was then used as the foundation for everything that came next. It was essentially a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump before he even had the opportunity to take his oath of office and be sworn in as President of the United States. So, as you know, there was a Mueller investigation that went on for years, cost taxpayers nearly $40 million. There were 2 congressional impeachments. President Trump and almost every member of his family were smeared and attacked, faced lawsuits, depositions. High-level officials were investigated. Some were arrested and put in jail. The list goes on and on about the ramifications of this, but foundational to it all was the fact that we had in President Obama and his leadership team people who did not want to accept the will of the American people in electing Donald Trump in 2016, and therefore cooked up this treasonous conspiracy to, again, try to effectively, and they did effectively, launch a years-long coup against the sitting President of the United States.
Director Gabbard, I'm glad you used the word coup.
Yep. Treasonous conspiracy. Treasonous conspiracy. I've been using that word for a good chunk amount of time now, ever since, the whole auto pen, been saying that Kamala Harris and the whole cabinet committed treason. Obama, listen, the reason why, to me, these things link is because Obama wanted people to believe he was this avatar figure. He wanted people to believe that he was like the Martin Luther King of our time, with the way he spoke. Even though if you look at his policies, they were super draconian, extremely socialist, on the verge of commie. But the way he spoke got people to just agree to whatever he said. And the fact that he knew Hillary Clinton was creating a false narrative to get people to think that Donald Trump was like a Russian operative. And she used this over and over again during her campaign, and he allowed it to happen. He allowed it to happen. So what makes people think he didn't allow Epstein to commit and continue to do things that we know are evil under his watch? If he allowed Hillary Clinton to literally create a false narrative funded by the DNC to smear her opponent. The Democrats are sore losers, dude. They don't like knowing that they can't win organically. So they have to literally cheat. They have to cheat. They have to lie in order for them to win. And when you do that over and over again, people are going to catch on to it. I don't believe that people are as asleep as they used to be. I was once asleep. I fell into the Russian thing. I remember posting a picture of Donald Trump's face, and it says impeach him or something like that. And it was on one of the screens in Manhattan, and I posted on my Instagram saying impeach Trump. I fell for it, even though I wasn't I was political, but underground. I didn't actually open up about that until until Biden came into office. That's when I was like, oh, okay, I need to start talking. But I fell into it, like many others fell into it. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I'm human. We fall into things because we don't know any better. We also allow our emotions to get the best of us. But now that we do know better, now that we see what people are capable of, you can't sit here and say that Obama is innocent when Obama literally lied to his intel community and said, no, we're going to actually create this false narrative and we're going to push it in the media. And the media is going to eat it up because they don't like the fact that Hillary Clinton didn't win, because the media is mainly left. The big media is mainly left. The only right-wing media there is that is mainstream is Fox News. So as far as a monopoly goes, when it comes to mainstream media, the left has a monopoly. The Democrats have a monopoly in media. And he knows that. They know that. So it's convenient to literally be like, well, I mean, the media's going to eat it up. They're going to believe it. They're not going to even question me because I'm Barack Obama. I'm the greatest president. I'm the first black president. So they're not going to question me. I would never do wrong. Even though he lied about his drug use. He lied about having sex with a man. He didn't even want to own up to that. I mean, what's wrong with that? Aren't you pro-LGBT? What's wrong with that? If he's so pro-LGBT and he literally legalized homosexual marriage, I don't see what was the problem of him just saying, yeah, I had sexual encounters with this dude and we smoked cocaine, you know? But he didn't. He lied about it. So there was some type of shame in it at the time, maybe. But to me, I really do hope something does come out of this, like for real, because people are saying that Donald Trump is covering up the Epstein files because he's in it. I don't think that's why he's doing it. He's doing it because there's innocent people that are in it that have nothing to do with the island or any sexual anything. You know, rich people use each other's jets all the time. So it just because they use a jet doesn't mean that they went, you know, to the island. But at the end of the day, like, people need to just like take a deep breath and start to think, okay, maybe what I've been told by the media is not 100% true. Maybe I've been kind of brainwashed, you know, to think that Obama is this good person who would never do wrong. You know, maybe the actual villain here is not Donald Trump and it's Barack Obama. I've always said I never liked Barack Obama, even as a child. And now my feelings about him have been confirmed. This guy to me has always been bad news. Always. He was associated with the Communist Party in Chicago. That already is bad news. Nobody questioned that, obviously, when he was running for president. And he, again, didn't do shit when it came to the Epstein files. Didn't do anything. And then now we find out for sure that he literally pretty much got the group of people that were working with him in his cabinet saying, hey, we're gonna make this false story and we're gonna push it into the media, and the media's gonna eat it all up. And not only did the media eat it up, the Congress ate it up, and Congress did I don't know how many impeachments on this guy, and he somehow survived all those impeachments. But it's like, bro, there's been so many attacks on Trump. It makes you have to question why. Why are there so many attacks on this dude? What is it that this dude is capable of that you're so afraid of? And that's literally that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at. I don't think Donald Trump is a pedophile. I'm sorry. I'm not in that camp. That is such an easy thing to believe. So easy to believe. Oh, he's in it. He's in it. He's one of them. That's why he's hiding. It's so easy. Think bigger, bro. Think bigger. Think deeper. You're not thinking big at all. You're thinking extremely shallow. Think maybe, perhaps, there are people in there that he doesn't want to expose them because people are going to assume they are pedos when they're not. Their reputations will be ruined. And these are innocent people. And I think we should care about that. We shouldn't want to incriminate innocent people. At least I don't want to do that. So I think that he needs to definitely push to open up the files that is credible to open. At the same time, another reason why they're doing it is because Ghislaine Maxwell said that she is going to testify. Let's see if it actually happens. But this all is coming into the light now at a beautiful time because something needs to happen and people need to go to prison. What Obama did was treasonous. He was against the transition of power. People talk so much shit about January 6th and oh my God, it was a constitutional crisis and it was, a fall of democracy and all this garbage. But you weren't saying shit when Obama was doing that. And the media knew it. The media knew it and they still didn't do anything because it doesn't fit the narrative. They don't want Obama to be seen as the actual bad person that he is. They want Trump to be seen as the bad guy. Don't look at this guy who's actually stealing your money. Look at this guy over here. That's literally what they were doing for years and years and years and years. And I believe this is going to be the time. God, please let this be the time where we actually see people get arrested. I'm not saying it's going to happen in a year, but before this man leaves office, we have to see people behind bars. We have to see treasonous and sedition is the worst charge you can have. And when you're a president, when it comes to treason, you got no immunity, homeboy. So I hope, I really do. I'm not going to say I believe, I hope, because I don't know anything. So I hope that they actually do something with this. The DOJ actually does something with this and people actually get arrested for this because it's going to show that the deep state is no longer in charge. Big media, you're no longer allowed to be saying false shit. And it's gonna put everybody, it's gonna pretty much put everybody to start actually being honest. Like stop pushing false narratives because if you do, there's gonna be massive consequences. Your job is to actually say what's actually going on, not to lie. If you're going to lie, you're going to get consequences. I mean, look at what's going on with CBS and CNN. They got sued. So, I mean, the big media adventure is going to die anyway. But in the meantime, you play ball or, you don't play the game. It's that simple. So tell me what you think in the comments. This is a huge, massive story. Trust me, this is music to my ears because all these libs that are like, Obama's the best president. Yeah, I would love to know what they have to say now. Let's begin with Biden's doctor and top aide plead the fifth. Oh, this was hilarious.
All right, breaking news right now on Capitol Hill. A senior aide to former First Lady Jill Biden pleading the fifth, the second one to do so in these depositions. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Anthony Bernal as part of the investigation into former President Biden's mental fitness in office. He refused, however, this morning to answer questions. Bernal served as senior advisor to First Lady Jill Biden, worked for the Biden family for more than a decade. He also worked for President Clinton and Vice President Al Gore. Alex Thompson, co-author of the book Original Sin about the Biden administration, telling me that Bernal was perhaps the most powerful
little Napoleon
top
over
aide
here.
to a first lady
A
in
little
American
Mexican
history.
Napoleon.
He had power over communications, power over the president's schedule. He sees his role as the ultimate defender and also the ultimate enforcer of whatever the first lady's wishes are. He sees himself as perhaps the most loyal aide to Biden's, and was able to rationalize at times behavior that his colleagues found offensive because he always saw himself as doing it on behalf of his principles.
Well, just as Biden's Dr. Kevin O'Connor did, Bernal now pleading the fifth, and a short time ago, Oversight Chair James Comer on the deposition.
Well, unfortunately, that was quick. This is the second witness that we've brought in via subpoena for a deposition that has pled the fifth, and they've stated they're not going to answer questions. I want to read the first two questions. Just so everyone knows, these are the types of questions we ask. Was Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president? He pled the fifth. Second question, did any unelected official or family member execute the duties of the presidency? And this is Joe Biden's chief of staff. Did any unelected officials or family members ever execute the duties of the presidency? Simple question. He knew he was going to be asked that. Everybody in America wants to know that. He pled the fifth.
All right, that's it.
Joining us now, Alex.
Oh, man. All right. ChatGPT this. What is the Fifth Amendment? I know what it is, but I want ChatGPT to give the whole full thing. I didn't bring my little constitutional book. I left it outside. So we're going to have to use ChatGPT here. So before you tell me what that is, so from my understanding, what I remember, when you plead the fifth is to not incriminate yourself, pretty much. You're choosing to stay silent, to not incriminate yourself, okay, from any wrongdoing or anything, or that way they can't use information that you said against you in court. All right, what is the fifth?
The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution is a part of the Bill of Rights and provides several important protections for individuals, especially in legal and criminal proceedings. Here's what it includes in plain English: right to a grand jury, protection against double jeopardy, rights against self-incrimination, due process of law, eminent domain limits.
Okay. So when it comes to pleading the fifth in the case of, did you know that the president of the United States had a mental decline? By choosing to plead the fifth, it definitely looks like you're covering up something. You don't want to report anything under oath that can be incriminating to you, so you're choosing not to say anything. Negligence to invoke the 25th Amendment, and there's a national security risk, which the biggest one to me is cover up and 25th Amendment. And I'm really big on the 25th Amendment because it's part of the Constitution. So by them saying, I'm not going to talk about this, even though this is a extremely important case, if you didn't do anything wrong, why not talk about this? If you did everything correctly and morally and just in good faith, then why are you pleading the fifth? Because obviously you didn't do everything correctly and morally and in good faith. You chose to lie to the American people who, well, I didn't vote for him, but people voted for him for some reason. And they were lied to. And at the end of the day, even though I didn't vote for him, it puts me at risk. It puts you at risk if you didn't vote for him either. Because we had a president that literally was absent for 4 years. So not only was he absent, we had people that we did not elect running the executive branch. We also had people that were supposed to be using the Constitution to actually follow procedure. And if you know this person is not fit to be president, then you need to tell him, you're not fit to be president. I need to step in. That's what Kamala Harris chose not to do. Neither did the chief of staff or any of the cabinet members. Nobody chose to actually be responsible and follow what you're supposed to be doing. Protecting the Constitution and respecting your citizens. Because it's not just about the people that voted for him, it's about everybody. We were all living here under Biden, and Biden was not even the president for 4 years. So who the fuck was the one running the country? Because people like literally, Democrats are like, oh, like, why is that even important? What do you mean, why is that important? Are you kidding me? Really? Just like, oh, you know, why are you bringing up the Russia hoax again? Like, that's not, like, it already happened. You know, let's move on. Let's turn the page. Like Kamala Harris says, let's turn the page. Or like Obama says, move forward. Democrats are really good at literally messing things up, creating massive chaos and destruction, and making you believe that you shouldn't have to fix it. You should just move forward. Like, don't worry about it. Let's just move forward. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about this. Let's just move forward. We don't have to fix this. We can just move forward. Let's ignore what happened here. No, we can't ignore. We can no longer move forward. We can no longer turn the page. We have to stop following the advice of those who want to do harm to this country. Obama did harm to this country for 8 years. And now it's being shown how harmful he was to the Constitution and to the American people. Hillary Clinton did harm to this country for God knows how long, because she was a part of a what do you call that? A foundation. So we don't really know what was going on.
Oh, technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Can they still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, well, as long as they can hear me. As long as you can hear my beautiful voice, that's all that matters. But seriously, we cannot continue listening to these people. These people are absolutely diabolical. They don't actually believe in the Constitution. They don't care about us, the American people. And I'm not saying this because, I'm not a leftist person. I'm saying this because I'm an American. I'm saying this because no Democrat citizen or Republican citizen or independent citizen deserves people like this to be in power. We deserve people that actually care about the Constitution and the American people. That's what we deserve. People fought way too hard and died for us to have to go through this. So, let me know when we've... Okay. All right. We're almost done. I need to do the bipartisan.
It's going to shut down again.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why.
It's too hot. You just didn't know.
Do you think it's because the door is closed?
No, air's not cold enough.
Okay, well, make the air colder, because I gotta finish. I ain't fucking leaving. We gotta talk about this. Sorry about the technical difficulties. When when it's hot, or I guess it's not hot, but I guess it feels hot to the camera overheats. So, but that's our fault. We should have made that colder. It should be like freaking 60 degrees in here when the camera's on. Considering, I don't know, it gets really hot in here too. I guess because of all the computer stuff or whatever. But yeah, I gotta finish. I'm not gonna cut this.
I don't know how long it's gonna take for it to,
turn it on and see if it works again. Turn it on. All right, I'm back. So, okay. Hopefully we don't shut down again. Let's pray to God, guys, we don't shut down again. All right, so really quick, the last thing will be the bipartisan bill. And we'll end it there. We won't be able to talk about the CBS stuff. I'll talk about that next time, just in case this decides to shut down again. All right, so bipartisan bill. All right, so Maria Salazar, I think it's Maria Abida Salazar, I believe is her name. She's actually my congresswoman. I live in her district. She is pretty much putting a partisan bill with 11 Democrats and 11 Republicans to get Congress and Senate to pass it and get it to Trump's desk for signature. The way it can be a new immigration reform law, pretty much getting everybody that's been in the country for more than 5 years who is undocumented to have some type of legal documentation, but no path to citizenship. And it's called the Dignity Act, which is amazing. And what's crazy about this is I was actually coming up with something similar to this because her office is very close to where I live, and I actually wanted to go over there and see if I get lucky and I tell her about what I had in mind. But she was 5 steps ahead of me, because what I came up with was literally called the Dignity Policy, and she came up with something very similar. So that was pretty awesome. You have to pay, I think it's like $7,500 like as a penalty because you came here illegally, which I think is good. It's a type of accountability. It's there's no actual path to citizenship, so it's not amnesty. People are saying, oh, it's amnesty. It's not. It's just an actual legal status, and that you have to be renewing every 7 years. So it gets people to stay here, pay taxes, and they don't have to worry about not having any legal status. They can't have any social programs. They can't, they can't get food stamps or any of that stuff. They actually have to pay for everything that they want, which I agree with 100%. But yeah, that's actually happening. I'm actually really, really excited about it. I hope it does pass. I hope that, what she does what they do, the Democrats and the Republicans, actually makes this the new reform immigration bill. And that will be probably be the biggest thing Trump is known for. It's not going to be tariffs. It'll probably be this. So I think this is good. I don't know what you think. A lot of people are like, oh, this is pretty much, allowing illegals to stay here. But I mean, dude, if illegals have been here for like 10 years or whatever, like, come on, dude. They've been here already for 10 years. They've been paying taxes. Just because you're undocumented doesn't mean you don't pay taxes. A lot of people think that, and that's not true. They do pay taxes. Now, those who came here not too long ago, sucks to suck. But those who've been here for almost a decade or more, you deserve the Dignity Act. Guys, I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. We're learning as we go. This is, a learning curve. We're amateurs still at this. But thank you guys so much for subscribing, for being a truth seeker, for joining, and I'll see you guys